Hello you lovely lot, welcome back to Friday's video, bank holiday video at Bareham Engines. Well guys, seeing as it's bank holiday Friday, we've got 4 days off, I'm going to do something slightly different. He's not going to be chatting about engines, he's not going to be chatting about any machining processes just yet. I am trying to persuade him to do parts on like the crank grinding, etc. But I'm going to introduce to you today the man, the myth, the legend, John. We're going to get John chatting on camera pretty much about his Austin 7. Wouldn't normally do this on the main channel, guys. This is pretty much like a second channel thing, but we need to start introducing him to this main channel, don't we? I need to get him used to talking in front of the camera because he ain't too keen, to be honest with you. So without further ado, guys, it's John. Now, don't get too excited about this, but I seen John earlier transport his Austin engine from that bench over there.
To the Austin? Oh no, not to the Austin, to the floor next to the Austin.
To the floor next to the Austin, which looks promising.
Yeah.
I reckon with that sitting next to the car, in the next 6 months, we could have that in the hole.
He's even brought his little
He's even brought his
bloody
bloody trolley in
thing
and put it right in the way of the racking. But it's promising, isn't it?
That is promising.
It's
unexpected.
Now it's got it out of our way over there into our way over here. And
perfect.
But I think
what I notice is that would sort of fit perfectly in there, but instead
if
just
you
put it
stick it in
innit?
there, it will
it's
never be
coming back out.
No. We asked him earlier if he's more than likely going to come in over the bank holiday weekend. So of course he's got 4 days off, and he didn't sound too promising, did it?
No.
He said he may, if it's dry, have some gardening to do. I mean, I can't see that. But we live in hope.
Should we have a look round this thing? Because we ain't really shown it like up close, have we?
Yeah, let's look round it.
He's got his little...
yeah, because it was on the ramp, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all up in the air.
This is a boat tail, obviously, that John had the body made of this, so it's all aluminium. He's got the boot in there behind the seat. Quite nice.
Looks good enough.
There is access to the boot, I think, from underneath at the back, but not easy. Just giving them the lowdown on your car. No, just giving them the look over. They're interested in it.
Picture of that, so that's going in there, believe it or not.
It is. One day.
Hopefully.
What's the front of this? Is that a...
That's an Austin Ruby.
But upside down?
Yeah. No, it's the right way up.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, no, because there's the hole for the hand crank.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have a hand crank on this one. Somebody's, at some point, blocked it off. We don't need it.
Oh, right.
Because we converted it to 12-volt electrics, because they're normally 6.
That's
and
right,
hopeless.
yeah. Hopeless, yeah.
Hardly turn anything over.
No.
But no, we decided we didn't like what we'd done and needed to lengthen the bonnet, so...
You had the seats retrimmed, didn't you, or made?
Well, we had that done when we built the car.
Yeah.
But that was...
That's all redone.
That's been redone, yeah.
Nice new steering wheel.
Genuine Brooklands, isn't it?
It is actually a genuine Brooklands Blumels. Barry Thorne gave me that.
Really?
Yeah, basically did a swap. He saw it and he came and saw the car and said, you know, he's building that Jag Special, but he wants some work done on the head. And he said, I've got a steering wheel hung on a nail in the garage, which I've had for 20 years. You do the bits on the Jaguar and I'll give you the... So he did, so the Bakelite was breaking up now eventually, so I can't remember the name of the company, but they did a really good job on that.
Yeah, it does look smart.
It looks good.
Is that where you fill it up?
Yeah, that's
so where's the tank in the back half of it?
Yeah, well, you see, normally speaking, this has a panel across there, and there's a slot down in there, and you put your spare wheel down there.
Oh, right.
And put the panel over. But we thought, well, today you don't have the roads that they used to, so we had who made it for us? Oh, Mark, I think. Oh. We measured it up, he made us a tank, put it in there, and that's Trant Spitfire.
Is it?
Yeah. Sporty.
Nice.
Yeah, we are not purists.
I like the belt strap. Look, you look, see the belt?
Got an actual
Strap the bonnet.
belt.
Oh, an actual belt.
And that was down on the front, you know, the shop opposite the Brit on the corner.
Oh,
The
really?
sales belt. Went down there and said, can you send me, I've got the longest he could sell a couple of belts, will you?
Yeah.
Cut them down and made them like that.
Brilliant.
I could have them made, and they look fantastic. They're about £80 a belt. And I thought, I think that
Expensive.
I would have spent that money.
Probably cost me less than a tenner for those.
Yeah. That's where John and I differs.
Ah,
So,
yes,
yeah, it
but
won't
I
be
don't
long.
think it's ever going to be worth what yours is somehow. There's too many of them.
Probably
about.
probably worth a couple of quid, this now, isn't it?
Not this. Probably not as much as you think.
2 or 3
More than that.
quid.
10 grand, I recken.
How much would
Yeah,
you say?
probably. So 2 or 3 quid.
2 or 3 quid.
Yeah, well, probably.
No, you get a bit for
I
this.
think I've got it insured for about 10 grand. But that's probably on the optimistics. It depends when you sell it at auction or whatever. If you find somebody who
Someone's got to be there
wants a
that wants
special
it,
and
innit?
wants something a bit different, fine. But if you have a purist, he wouldn't want it.
No. So there we go. We're done soon. Be able to take them out for a test ride.
Well, you can have a drive if he wants.
Nice.
You won't break it. That's the one thing about it. You won't break it.
My concern would be flipping over and being decapitated, to be honest.
Sorry?
My concern would be flipping over and being decapitated.
Yeah, well, what you got to remember is it don't corner like your Subaru.
Well, I don't know.
Or stop
I don't
like
even
your
know what my
Subaru.
Subaru corner's like yet, so
Probably a bit better than
Mind
that.
you, in a wet, you could probably. I know I've got the there's radials on the back. Really ought to have cross plies. That way you can slide it and hang the tail out. But trouble with those radials is they grip, grip, and then whoops.
no grip.
Sounds good to me.
That's what Lee needs. Get him some cross plies on the E30.
Oh, yeah. So there we go, guys. What do you think? I'm sure many of you will be really pleased to have John on this channel, just to hear his voice more than anything. But he seemed to be quite excited about doing that. We couldn't really shut him up at the end of it. So, yeah, hopefully more from John in the future, guys. Let's get him on that crank grinder, shall we? And get him showing us how to do it. But anyway, moving on. Nightmare. I have started putting together the Mercedes. And you might say, why is it a nightmare? It's quite a good looking motor, that. This engine, guys, is not one of my favourites to assemble. I'm going to tell you that. So, we have got all the parts out of the cupboard for the Mercedes. You know that Isaac and I were walking past this in dread, because obviously Paul took it all to bits. This Mercedes SL motor here is one of those where there's loads of little finicky bits, all a little bit different to what you're used to. And we haven't got a clue where they all go because we've never really done one. So we've had cylinder heads, we've had blocks to be bored, but we've never really built a complete motor. So what I've done, got everything out of the cupboards, put it all on the shelf here. So that is really all we've got left. So we're almost there, guys. We're in search at the moment for another oil pump. This one here is not too bad, but if we can get a new one, we will do. It's one of the last things to put on. I'll explain why we have a couple of chains there in a moment. That's been a nightmare. We've got a little couple of boxes of leftover nuts and bolts, which I'm sure we'll find homes for. Tensioner spring, bits and bobs there. We have got the clips to put back onto the lifters over here. Distributor body. That's about it, really. Front pulley. Now, why is it a nightmare, you might ask? I'm going to tell you. So, you know that Isaac had put the crank pistons and rods in the bottom end. We had to get the head on. So Isaac's done the head. Now this is not a hydraulic setup. This is a lifter. So you've got a rocker arm and then you've got a mechanical clearance adjuster under here, which is a very, very tight fit into this body. There is no lock nut. So you've literally got to just move that out or in to get the right clearance off the cam. Now, I've discovered that there is a specific sequence. This is one of them engines that there is a sequence of assembling it and disassembling it. And I've only found that out as I'm going along. So it's one of those where if you don't do it in the right order or sequence, you can do it, but it makes your life really hard. So what I've discovered is you've got to put the cylinder head on, and this cam carrier here has got to go on before you torque the head down, because most of the bolts go through the cam carrier, or half of them. So that was the first thing I thought. We've got some sealer in between. There is a gasket, but it's a solid steel gasket, and I thought the last thing you want is this thing weeping, because that is a lot of work to sort it out. So we put some sealer around here, which has obviously got to be put on, and it's all got to be torqued down before it's gone off. So that was the first thing I discovered. No problem there, got it all torqued down. Then time come to put the cams in. Now, I should have realised, just by looking at it, that the reason we've got these rocker clips here to hold the rockers in is what you should do, I've discovered now, is you load the camshafts into this with the rockers underneath. I always wind down these mechanical clearance things here, wind them right down so we've got bags of clearance. You put those in with the clips so they can't fall through. You put the shims on top of the spring and retainer. There is a little shim under there you can see, which locates the end of this rocker arm and stops them from sliding off left to right. So you have to load those on. Then you really should put it all on, roughly sort of timed up and off TDC, before you torque the head down. The reason for that is you put the camshafts in, and you can't put the cams in with the rockers on. So then I've had to take all the rockers off, because the first thing I did was put the rockers on once all this was on. Then you've got to try and get the rocker in and over this ball screw here, with the cams in and off the lobes. So you have to turn the cams off the lobes and try and lever them in there. Absolute nightmare. Done that eventually. The reason I've left these clips off is because with the clips on, you can't get a spanner underneath to do the clearances. So I will be doing the clearances once it's timed up. Next problem. So John got us a chain. He went and got us what they thought down at Ultra Parts was the chain for this. Turns out it was a 126 link chain. Now, the chain that come off, unfortunately, did get broke, so we couldn't tell exactly how many links it was. That is the chain down there. This little box here is, a lot of it is my old BMW stuff, and I'll explain why that comes into it in a moment. So, to get the chain on, you can see it's a bit of a weird setup. Usually when you've got a twin cam, either a chain or belt will go over both of them and drive them in the same direction. No, not Mercedes. That chain goes underneath there, lies against this guide rail, and drives this camshaft from underneath, which means that that one will turn that way and this one will turn that way. Okay, so you can imagine what it's like trying to get that chain all underneath here. Now, there is a split link in this. Managed to do it eventually, discovering that we'd forgot to put, there's a guide rail behind there. Now, each of the guide rails are held in by pins which are interference fit. You've got to put a sealer on there each time, and to get them out you've got to slide hammer them, about M6. You can see down there is a little guide rail. Forgot to put that one in. Okay, so then the chain comes down here round that wheel there, that idler wheel. Well, that is what drives the distributor, and goes down there. There's another little guide rail down here, and then there is the tensioner, big tensioner guide rail here, and the tensioner's in the side. Okay, finally got all that fed down there and realised we're about 4 links short. Okay, so what I did then was take this chain all the way out again, laid it on the bench and put it next to both of these chains, and it turns out that I think John had took that chain, which was mixed up in the same box, because Paul had stripped both of my motors, my BMW motor and this Mercedes at some point. He's took that one, which looks, to be honest, does look pretty much identical. This is the S50 chain, and he's counted 126 links. But anyway, so that was the chain we got I put on originally, which took me about 2 hours. So I've took that chain off, John has then gone to get the correct chain, which apparently is 130 links, like he said, because they did list another Mercedes one at 130. So he's gone to get that one, and I put that on, and it's weirdly, it took me ages to get it on, but it appeared to be about a link out, and there ain't no way I could get it to stretch that extra link. Well, it turns out that Graham at Ultra Parts rang us without us even ringing him and said, don't fit that chain that we've supplied you. We've give you a TD 130. You want a TD 130M. The chain you've got is Imperial. You want a metric one, which is slightly longer apparently. So I've had to take that chain out and then get the correct chain. There we go. So this engine so far, guys, has took me about a day and a half to get to that state, bearing in mind that the bottom end was built already. So yeah, absolute blooming nightmare, guys. Maybe it's just because I'm out of touch, because all I'm doing is making videos and sitting in the office moaning about people. Maybe I should get out here a little bit more and build some motors. Not entirely true. Built a few Cozzies lately. This one here we will be finishing very shortly. But yeah, we're nearly there with this one now, guys. It would be nice to see the back of that, to be honest. You know, you get the occasional motor which just lingers around forever on end, and you just want it out the door. But there we go. Hopefully when we come back on Tuesday next week, we should have this one pretty much finished. Just got to get the sump on, etc. now. Clean a few little bits up. Hopefully we can get another oil pump. That is all we'll be waiting for, and then it's out the door. But that's all we got time for. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a wonderful bank holiday. And I'm hopefully going to see you Monday. But if not, it's probably going to be Tuesday next week, guys. But until then, have a great weekend. Cheers.